What's up, Airsofters? This is Dave with Blue Line Battle Sports, and on this week's episode of Use of Force Tour, we're going to cover the mega game up at Command Decisions War Games in North Carolina, Fulda Gap 2018. Alright, so to give you a little background on the scenario that we're involved in, Fulda Gap is a real-world place that is located in Germany, and during the Cold War, it's a possible route the Soviets could have taken in order to invade into Germany. Now, what Command Decision War Games has done is that they turned around and took that scenario, and it's a what if the Russians attack. So, when you're looking on the map here of Command Decision War Games, you have several outposts, several bases, several cities that were listed as a possible invasion route. And what we were doing was, if the Soviets had attacked, and if it had actually erupted into an all-out war, so the Cold War, what could have or would have happened. So your two sides are Warsaw Pact and NATO. And I played for the NATO side. Now, since it's a review, let's talk about what this game is and what it isn't. First off, let me go over what it isn't. It's not a milsim game. I want to make that perfectly clear up front that it is not a milsim game. This game is high cap friendly. It's full auto friendly, which if you go to games like AMS, TCA, Lion Claws, etc., they're not allowing high caps. They're not allowing full auto for riflemen. However, Fulda Gap does allow for that. This is more of a big game. This is actually, they converted over their paintball game into Airsoft so that we too could enjoy it the same way the paintballers have been for years. I believe this is the 12th Airsoft version of it. So it has been going on for quite some time. Alright, so the field was absolutely massive. I just mentioned that it was 80 acres. And on that 80 acres, a majority of it's wooded, most of it's hills, valleys, and it's very unique for me since I live in Florida and most of what I play on is flat land. Also, the field here, they've put quite a bit of work into it. There's trench systems, there's buildings, there's a small village that represented Frankfurt, and so it's not just locations on a map. When you go to take Frankfurt, you'll be taking, well, a very scaled down city. When you go to take OP Rex, you have an observation post out there with trenches and so on and so forth. So the field was absolutely fantastic. There's also creeks, bridges, so when they say go blow a bridge, you actually go down there and you set off smoke grenades on a bridge, not just some marked off piece of yellow tape that's supposed to represent a bridge. There's actually a bridge there with water, which gives you the tactical options that if you want to go down the creek bed and under the bridge, if you can sneak in that way, you can do that. So the field itself is really unique, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. All right, so let's talk about the amenities, the off-field stuff, if you will. We had several vendors out there. Wolverine was out there. E-Bike was out there. Uh, Stampede Airsoft was the vendor for the event, and they had just about everything. And they also did gun upgrades on the spot. So if you had issues with your guns, if you had issues with anything, or you needed something, or you were a complete idiot like me and forgot your primary weapon, they had stuff there that you could either upgrade your secondary with, or if you need to pick up a new primary, you could. Also batteries, because I forgot that along with my primary. And I was able to go Stampede. They're a great bunch of guys out of Florida. I got a chance to play with them. Really stand-up people, and that was great. Also, they had 2 food trucks on site. I tried both. They had good breakfast foods. They had good lunch foods. And if you didn't feel like going into town for dinner, they had that too, which basically you never had to leave. So when you camped, and they did provide free camping as well, you had everything you needed right there. The porta potties also, I know this is an issue with a lot of airsoft games, they were clean multiple times throughout the day, so you always had a clean place to go if you had to take care of that. So overall, the amenities were really well handled by the Command Decision staff, and I applaud them for that. All right, now the really important part of the game, because when you spend $65 or more to go out to a game for 2 days, you want to make sure that you're going to have fun, and I absolutely did. A lot of people would think with 700 something players calling hits and so on would be a problem. And while it's existing everywhere you play Airsoft, and that's going to be another rant and video some other time, uh, for the most part, it was virtually non-existent out here. That's the only thing I could say. Everyone I took shots at called their hits for the most part. Everyone that shot at me, I called my hits. We had a good time. And the gameplay itself was kept smooth. The scenarios were kept smooth. Game control was constantly in contact with the commanders for each side. And I did step off the field quite a bit because I was XO for the game. And so I got to see both sides of it. And honestly, if you guys have not tried to be on the command side of a game before, you really should. It does change the dynamic, and you get to see everything that's going uh, on the field. You get to see the entirety of the game because you'll know the plots, you'll know the points, you'll know where your troops are at any given time. And it's, for me anyway, it was a lot of fun as opposed to just running and gunning and not knowing where anything was at or what was going on, which is a common problem unless you know somebody in most games. I got a chance to XO and see everything, and it was fantastic. But again, the gameplay on the field, the players played honorably. The game was a lot of fun. And the action was intense all day. We were either pushing ground or losing ground or something of that sort throughout the entirety. There was no sitting around and kind of picking your nose and wondering what the game designers were going to do next. It was nonstop. It was fantastic, and I couldn't be happier with it. All right, so to wrap this up, if you guys can't already tell where I'm going with this, finally, the game was fantastic and it's highly, highly recommended. If you haven't gone, go. It's within driving distance for most of the East Coast. Parts of the central United States can make it in a fairly reasonable amount of time. If you're on the West Coast, fly out there. We're talking about 1,000-player game they're trying for next year. 1,000 players, and that's something that you will not find anywhere else at all. You just can't because most sites can't hold that. So if you get a chance, go out. The game's only $65 for entry plus whatever your travel expenses are. Totally worth it. Best time I've had in Airsoft in a long, long time. So, guys, again, this was a fantastic game. There's not much more I can say about that. So, till next time, this is Dave with Blue Line Battle Sports. Play safe, play fair, and I hope to see you out on the field.